In this video, I'll be reviewing your Pokemon, and more specifically, this is a submission posted by Sinn in the YouTube My Mon text channel right here. And that is available for those of you who have been a YouTube member once at some point in time and have made use of that lifetime access perk. So you become a member once, you get a lifetime, and you can enjoy your time in the Discord. So if you post 3 Pokemon in the YouTube My Mon text channel by the end of October 2024, I'll make a video for you like this. So the first Pokemon that Sinn has posted here is a Grubbin. Now I've just made it into a Vikavolt. It makes it easier to understand the numbers, and we see the ingredient rate and the speed and everything. And the message is the following. Hey Nirth, here is my submission for the YouTube My Mon series. It's been awesome seeing all the different deep dives. In the spirit of Old Gold Power Plant being released, here are some of my highlights from the last week and a half. And the first Pokemon is a Mono Coffee Grubbin with a very nice set of skills. So in my opinion, we can just highlight Mono is coffee, coffee, coffee. And Vikavolt is the best coffee Pokemon right now. Probably will stay that for a good while. And so if you find a Grubbin with all cacao, now that it's the big new ingredient, it's a big deal. And in my opinion, when you want to evaluate the mono ingredient lists, I would say you want AAA. So in this case, coffee, coffee, coffee. And then you want 1 or 2 complementary traits to really just say, all right, this is not only a good ingredient list, but it's very good at what it does, because just finding mono is not necessarily good if it's ingredients down or it's just lacking in other ways. You might as well just cap the investment at level 30 and find one with cracked sub skills. So it's a lot to really figure out. The mono ingredient lists too assumes that you at some point in time will bring the Pokemon to level 60 to maximize that potential. Otherwise, you might as well just keep it at level 30. But with that said, are there 2, maybe even 3 complementary stats on this Grubbin? Yes, there are. So it's basically a home run here, with the exception of the nature, which in some ways doesn't really matter too much. If you can find a strong nature, that is good, but a lot of the time, if you can just find a nature that doesn't ruin your Pokemon, you can just lean a little bit heavier on those sub skills, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. So you got AAA, you got helping speed, and you have that ingredient finding S. Overall, I would say this is probably not sufficient in terms of the ingredient rate that you would want for the most part. But given that it's a AAA and it has ingredient finding M and ingredient finding S and some inventory and some speed, level 75, if you can get it there, it's going to be quite nice. On level 100, it has skill level up S, which doesn't really do much. Although Vikavolt evolves twice and then has another skill level up. So, I mean, it's going to do something. And it has a decent speed. It's got 5% on that skill rate. So it's actually decent. Level 100, maybe you want to just sub-skill seed and have a bigger chunk here. But for the most part, probably not too interested in that. The inventory, though, could kind of help you in some ways. But even just having inventory M here is huge. And it's not even evolved twice here. And I guess we can put in 1,000 hours, let's say. You're almost hitting 50 inventory. I don't think I would sub-skill seed this one even. So it's pretty strong. I would say Vikavolt will likely stay meta relevant for a long time, just because the coffee ingredient is the newest ingredient. It's at the most difficult area, and overall a lot of the bigger dishes do have coffee. And so when you have the AAA list, you might as well just get it to level 60. And when you're at level 60, 75 is still a decent distance away. That experience curve is not like this. It's more like it goes a little like this and then it's just straight up. So it's a little bit tough on those levels after, let's say, 55, but you'll get there eventually, and once you do, you'll have a 30% ingredient rate. Before then, it seems like you're looking at 23%, which is rather low, but it's a valuable ingredient and used in some of the main dishes, and you got quite the specimen right here. So congratulations on the Grubbin. Let's hop on over to the next Pokemon. Ooh, shiny Magnemite. I'm just gonna put in the Magnezone here too, although I'd probably put the pre-evolutions in the thumbnail, which is fine too. And then we can have a look at what this shiny Magnemite is up to. I actually found a shiny Magnemite on my primary account this week too, so that was pretty cool. It can evolve twice, which presumably it's going to do. And I'm just going to put in 1,000 hours here, just because that's kind of where you get the most out of the extra inventory, which is going to be something that the Magnezone is interested in. And let's have a look at the sub-skills. The nature is sassy, huge. At this point in time, you mostly just want like 1 speed or 1 trigger, something like that, and you can just pat yourself on the shoulder and be happy about the fact that you found a viable shiny. Better yet, the best Pokemon in its category. And that's exactly what we find here. So it's got the skill trigger S. Now, this is blocked, unfortunately, at level 75. You can't sub-skill seed it. But at level 75, this is going to be quite the monster, because watch this. It's got some speed too. At that point, you basically got the dream outcome. And on top of that, you have a free seed, which is huge. So I would sub-skill seed 25. I would also sub-skill seed 50. And at that point in time, we would be looking at skill level up M and helping speed M. And if we for a second just remove the 75, pretend it doesn't exist, this as a starting point is a huge find. Now, it did cost you 2 sub-skill seeds and presumably 2 main skill seeds to get it all the way to main skill level 7. But at that point, that is massive. And then on top of that, the skill trigger M comes in later. So this is probably the best shiny Magnemite I ever seen. I can't remember finding or seeing anything like this before. And we can also mention it does have ingredient finding S at level 100. And it has a straight up mono oil list. And at that point, you probably will get some supplemental oil just because you have 1, 2, and 4 in the drops here. That's one of the things that are nice with the Pokemon that don't have a C ingredient. They tend to have way higher likelihood of some combination here being useful. But yeah, quite the nice Magnezone here. I would say if you don't already have a Flareon or a Glaceon or a Magnezone, this is a home run. I think even if you already have one of those invested, depending on how good it is, you may go ahead with this one, but it's not impossible that, let's say, had I found this and I have my main skill level 7 highly viable Flareon, I don't think I would reinvest. I don't see the use in having 2 cooking power Pokemon. I know a lot of people like to run the main skill level 3s and 4s, but if you're premium, I would just go all out and have one just very solid Pokemon. And if you don't have one of those yet, this looks to me like it should be the one, especially considering how cool shiny Magnezone is. And at that point, we're going to hop on over to the final Pokemon here, which is an Aron. In the spirit of Ogo Power Plant indeed. So we're going to just pop in the Aggron. Haven't talked too much about Aggron yet. I think this may be one of the first Arons, if not the first, we've had in these reviews. Actually can't remember. All right. This is also coffee focused, which is interesting. It's got double coffee. And I mean, I like just 1,000 hours on it. If you have a decent volume of ingredient specialists, and I mean, some people prefer not to run ingredient specialists at night at all. It's just personally, I think just long-term 1,000 hours makes sense for your long-term ingredient specialist because you get a lot of added inventory. It's also a decent way to level them up. And so, yeah. Let's plot in these sub-skills. The first thing is inventory. And you have inventory here in heaps, so that won't be a problem for you. And the nature is not sassy, but it is quiet, which is huge. And then on top of that, we have the ingredient finding S, which is not blocked. And if you decide on investing in this Aggron, I would say potentially it could make sense to subskill seed it. It also has the helping speed S here, which is not blocked, so you can subskill seed that too. But if you're unlucky, you're gonna end up having to spend 3 seeds. Level 75, we got skill trigger S, then helping bonus all the way at level 100. In my opinion, I don't think I would invest in this one, but I wouldn't release it either. And the reason is you already have the busted Vikavolt, which we just talked at length about. And I think for the most part, you probably want to preserve the Aggron for mono sausage, unless you have a really, really strong Charizard. And I mean, this is not bad. Had I found this Aggron, I would have used it and been pretty happy with it. Though EXP gains down can be a little bit hard to get it all the way to level 60, which is where it's actually going to produce a decent chunk of coffee. Before then, it's just going to be some sausage, some coffee, and that's that. But I think considering the fact you have such a strong Vikavolt, I wouldn't consider this one. Put it in your bag, star it, and keep it around in case trading ever comes out, because this is a high value trade, assuming they don't like scramble the stats if you do the trade. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe if coffee in the future becomes like a huge ingredient. Right now, the required volumes for it in the ingredients, or in the dishes rather, is not a whole lot. And so I think for the most part, you'll be just fine with the Vikavolt. And at that point, we've covered all 3 Pokemon quite in depth here. Hope you have enjoyed this breakdown, Sinn. And for everyone else, you can leave a big old thumbs up if you want to see more videos like this in the future. And if you're interested, consider becoming a YouTube member. It costs you $2 for whatever that is locally adjusted. I live in Norway, so that is 19 kroner. In the first month, you get lifetime access to the Discord. Even if you end the renewal, you just need to get in there and get full access. You get early access to new videos, and I reply to all your comments. And for the month of October 2024, I will review 3 Pokemon if you post them in the YouTube My Mon text channel. It's a special campaign. And with that, hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you again later.